Well, the new Canyon Ultima has been spotted at the Dauphiné, and the team that's running it is Movistar. And everyone's talking about this new bike and how light it is. And a lot of people are speculating it's got the same handlebars, which can be extended and collapsed, either for easy transportation or easy fitment. And it's got that same type of style seat post that we had a lot of trouble with, but I imagine Canyon have corrected that, not making the same mistake they made before. But if you look very, very close at the video, you can actually see that the tyres that have been fitted to this bike are Continental Competitions. Now, Continental Competitions only come in a tubular type tyre. So with all this new tech coming out and all of these new tyres that are available, and everyone's been pushing how good they are in previous races, why are they using a tubular tyre? Now, tubular tyres, really, people are saying old tech, and tubeless have a lower rolling resistance, and tubulars are too hard to get on, they're too much faff. They're not as good with the aero because you can't make the tyre and the rim so compatible. Well, if that's all true, then why are these companies doing this? And they must be having these wheels specially made, or they must be very rare or hard to get, because they're having to have a disc brake wheel, a disc brake hub fitted and spoked up with a rim that is a tubular rim. And I must admit, I don't see many of these on the market where you get a disc brake tubular rim. So opting this way would be going for something that is really just not that popular, and I probably would say that they've been spoked up. I mean, the mechanics in these teams are pretty good, and they probably could have done that easily, just got a rim, tubular rim, and fitted it on. But they have gone to the effort of specifically specifying that they want a disc brake wheel which can fit a tubular tyre on it. Okay, so why are they using tubular tyres when we've been told that tubeless are so much better? They've got lower rolling resistance, they're more puncture proof, and now we've got the new hookless rims, and they're saying that they're better as well. Well, what are all of these reasons why they're still sticking with tubular when we've got basically two integrations of tyre technology, if you don't include a normal clincher? But even if you include that, which is not even as old as the tubular type technology, then we've had 3 different steps of technology, and people are still at the highest level of competition using tubular tyres. Well, the reason is because tubular tyres are superior in almost every facet of tyres. And I know the marketing says this, but the reality is that if you're not worried about the convenience of being able to carry a tube and fix the puncture on the side of the road, which the pros don't do, and let's be real, with the disc brakes now, they're not even changing the wheels, they're changing the whole bike because it takes so long to get the through axles out, and a lot of times they even jam up and they use special drills and everything like that, that they're not even bothering with doing that. If the team car's there, they just change the whole bike because the disc brake change of the rim when there's a flat takes significantly more longer than getting another bike off the top of the car. So that's what they're doing. So the puncture thing is really mute in the whole scheme of things because they're running disc brakes now. So the puncture thing, let's just call that equal. Okay, now let's just look at rolling resistance. Well, rolling resistance, I don't think really is a significant difference. Now, even if we were saying that tubeless tyres, because they haven't got a tube in and all that, can be much more or have a lower rolling resistance, well, there is actually tubulars on the market that are tubeless as well. And I think Tufo make them, and it would be very easy for the manufacturers to do that. They could actually vulcanize the inside of the tubular tyres and not have that membrane separate in there. But if you do take a tubular tyre apart, they do actually have a nice mesh piece between the latex tube and the outer casing, and I do believe that gives it some more security for damage. But if they wanted to, they could actually make them tubeless if the hysteresis that they're saying is going to cause or pull more energy away from using that tyre, and it's going to be slower, so the rolling resistance is higher, and the tyre then doesn't roll as well as a tubeless tyre or a hookless tyre. Then we look at the ability to be able to change the pressure of the tyre. Now, if you have a new hookless, which is the latest technology, you're limited to 72 psi maximum. And you also would have a lower end limit, because with a tyre that is being held on by even a hook or a hookless, there's some point where the tyre is going to get so flat that it's going to come away from the body of the rim that's basically holding it on. So you have an upper limit and you have a lower limit. Now, if you run a tubular tyre, not only can you run the pressure higher, which we know, I mean, some of these tubular tyres are rated to 180 psi, you can also run them lower. In the mountain bike world, they're actually running them down under 20 psi, and it's because they're stuck on, and that's incredibly low. It's not much above atmosphere. So they're running these tyres at a much wider pressure range, so that gives you that advantage that you can use the tyre in a lower pressure or in a high pressure, depending on the conditions of the road. So it gives you more variance of what pressure you can run your tyre at. Now, weight is a big one for the pros, because the disc brakes do add some weight to the bikes, and the frame manufacturers have been trying really hard to get the frame weight down. And this new Canyon bike they're claiming they've got it down to around about 600 grams. So that's really low. And they're using new technologies like EPS. Now, as soon as you go to a tubular type setup, you take about 300 to even sometimes 500 grams for the same tyre rim setup, if by just using and going to a tubular tyre, because the tubular rim combination works out lighter than having a hookless or a tubeless or whatever, a clincher type tyre. So you're saving weight straight away by just going to this new technology. So when it comes to weight, they're also ahead. And as we know, the pros can be quite particular about the weight of the bikes. And the last option that you can have with tubulars is that if you do get a tyre that goes soft or it goes flat, you can still ride on it. Now, it's pretty horrible to ride on, but you can still ride on. And the pros like this, because if they want to get to the team car, they can. Now, I will have to say that I will give equal points to the tubeless technology, because now they're putting sealant in and they're also putting an insert, and I've done a video on that one and I'll link it up the top here if you want to check that out. Victoria have designed this insert, which is pretty clever technology, but it is more bits and pieces you need to put in the tyre. You need to have an insert, you need to have the sealant, and of course that would add probably a little bit more weight, might not be that much, but still the weight's going the wrong way. But as far as being able to ride on the tyre, if you get a flat, then they've now got the technology in tubeless that equals the tubular ability of still being able to ride if you get a flat with the tyres. So the tubeless is not better, but now it's achieved the same ability as the tubular tyre. Now, the other point that a lot of people are saying is against tubulars is aero. And this is something that I really challenge as well, because the reason why you lose the aero advantage is because the tyre doesn't match the rim. So if you've got a clincher and you put too big a clincher tyre on a rim that's too small, then you lose that advantage, because it's like a light bulb effect. You're not keeping to that 105 rule. So, you know, with the old rims that were a lot skinnier, you had to run skinnier tyres to maintain that 105 relationship between the tyre and the rim to keep that aero ability. That's why rims now have got a lot wider, because people are running more tyre, but still there should be a tyre that should match the rim to give you that 105 rule. And there may be one or two sizes only that do that. Okay, you can change your tyre sizes, but then you're going to destroy your aero benefit, which is a transition between the tyre and the rim. Now, if you're running a tubular tyre, the tyre is round, and the insert or curvature that fits into the tubular, you can make that the same. You can make the tyre to match the rim to match the tyre. So if the tyre is 25 mil, then, which has gone a bit wider, you make the rim a bit wider as well, and therefore you're still maintaining a 105 ratio. And I've got that on my bike. I've got some, they're not new tubular rims, but they're not as old as some of the other ones. And they are wider than the ones I had previously. So they're, even the tubular rims have adjusted to meet the slightly wider tyres. So therefore, we're still getting that 105 effect and aero bend from running a tubular, and you're not really getting any advantage over running a clincher or a tubeless or a hookless rim. So in conclusion, if you look at it from the teams that want to run and they want the highest performance, a tubular tyre still gives them the best of all areas. It gives them equal or better conditions overall over any other technology. Now, for us people who are just riders, we may not like the price of tubulars, or we might not like the hassle of sticking them on or whatever, but you've got to understand these teams, they're all geared up for that. In fact, the pros are so quick at sticking them on, they can actually do a number of tubular rim tyre combinations equal to one tubular setup, where they have to put the sealant in and the Victoria insert in to give them that same conditions or safety feature of when they get a flat. So if they get a mechanical, they can still keep riding, so they don't have to actually stop on the side of the road, and then when they meet up with a team, they can swap the wheel over. So the teams, the mechanics like using them, and they're much quicker to set up, and you're getting all of these benefits. So if you're riding in conditions where the road surface is extremely smooth, they can run the tyres at a much higher pressure. Now, we do know the hookless rims are limited to 72 psi. The normal tubeless tyres can go a bit higher, but even still, I think they have their limits as well. Whilst with a tubular tyre, you can go much higher. You can go 130, 140. Some of the tyres, as I've said, have rated to 180. Not that they'd probably be running those on the road, but the ability to go to higher pressures is there, and the rating of those tyres is much more significant because you don't have to worry about the hooks of the tyre being strong enough to hold the pressure. It's a much more secure system because you have a completely sewn up tyre that relies on the material of the tyre is all sewn up, and it's just stuck on the rim. There is actually no force, air pressure force, that's applied to the rim. So this is why the pros, or a lot of teams, are still persisting with tubulars, because whether the marketing wants to tell you that these are this antiquated technology, no one is buying them anymore, and we've got this new fantastic tubeless technology, we've got this new fantastic hoodless technology. The reality is they still haven't got them to a point where a lot of the teams are confident enough to run them for all the year. Yes, in certain circumstances, they have tried them and they may give you an advantage, like something like the Roubaix, but when you get onto a smooth, normal road surface, they're opting for the tubulars. Well, anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. Leave your comments down below. What do you think about tubular and clincher and tubeless and hookless, and the technologies that are coming out to try and improve these newer technologies? And yeah, what are you riding? What are you guys riding out there? You know, are you riding these hookless rims or tubeless rims with all of them set up with this new technology? Well, anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. Remember to subscribe, don't be a ninja watcher, and also whack that like button because it really helps the algorithm. Cheers.